Welcome to Countdown to Game Day, covered by State Farm. The final weekend of the regular season in college basketball has arrived. That can only mean one thing. College Game Day back inside the narrow and claustrophobic walls of Cameron Indoor for Duke, North Carolina. The outright ACC title belongs to the Duke Blue Devils. The memory of February belongs to the Tar Heels. Some called it the miracle at the time. Duke calls it a nightmare, but in Chapel Hill, it's become known as the Trimble Triple. Roll it.
Into Dixon. Boozer switches onto him. Dixon the kick. Trimble! Got it! And Carolina wins it! Their largest comeback win over Duke in 25 years. It just means a little bit more between these two teams in this rivalry.
Welcome inside our studio here in Bristol, Connecticut. Harry Lyles Jr., Myron Medcalf. I'm Sam Ravech. Still searching for the perpetrator.
Yes.
In the physical altercation there in the line after the handshakes. Great shot by Roy Williams as well. But that game it encapsulated so much of what this season has been in college basketball. But a lot has changed since that matchup on February 7th. Duke has won 7 straight games by an average margin of 24 points. On the other side, North Carolina has had to figure out life without Caleb Wilson, and it looks like they're going to have to continue to do that, Myron.
Yeah, it seemed like he was on his way back.
Yep.
Was practicing, was shooting, dribbling, and then he suffers a right thumb injury that is going to end his season. He's going to get surgery. He already had the surgery, and now he's got to get ready for the NBA draft. But unfortunate development, hurt the left hand, was ready to come back, goes up for a dunk in practice, injures the right hand.
It's certainly unfortunate, and I'm not saying that this is how Hubert Davis would prefer it, but boy, you've got an opportunity to show them coaching chops, man, because you've got to get this thing right, and you got to get it right now.
And it's not like they've been playing bad without him. I mean, they've won, I think, 5 of their last 6 games, and it's going to be a challenge, and maybe it can serve as a galvanizing event, at least for the players on the roster, knowing this is what we got going forward into the best month of the season. Now, the last time these two went head-to-head, Wilson had 23 points, Cam Boozer had 24. It would seem on its face, Lyles, if I were to tell you this Duke team might be better than last year. That might seem preposterous, but when you dig into the stats, it actually bears out a little bit.
Yeah, it actually does. I mean, when we talk about even just the Ken Pom rating, it's reached 40.71 now. It's the second highest all time. Only behind the 99 Duke Blue Devils, pretty damn good basketball team, right? And actually, the third all-time on the list is this 2026 Michigan Wolverines team that beat Duke a few weeks ago. So it's been a dominant season from this team, obviously looking to hopefully close out the regular season strong here.
Yeah, and if Jon Scheyer wins National Coach of the Year, it's going to be because he developed this supporting cast around Cam Boozer. Didn't go to the portal, kept his guys, and they got better.
Done it from the ground up there. A lot of younger players on this Duke team. The question's going to be, and it has been all year, what happens if Cam Boozer has an off night? Well, Isaiah Evans has stepped up. Caleb Foster has been tremendous. He's only had 1 game this season in which he's turned the ball over 2 times, and that was back on Thanksgiving against Arkansas. He's been one of the more underrated players on this team, veteran player. But when you look at the dominance of this Duke team, we mentioned the Ken Pom rating, but they also do so many other great things well, especially on the defensive side. This is an all-encompassing Duke Blue Devil team, number 1 in defensive rating at Ken Pom as well, and they're leading the NCAA in points differential. All right, let's now welcome in College GameDay's very own Jay Williams outside Cameron Indoor. Cameron Crazy is going nuts behind you, Jay Will. Little bit quiet, more subdued for the SportsCenter interview, but that's why we're here. We get the crowd going with Jay Will. Appreciate the time, man. What's it been like so far going back home?
You know what, man? It's this place is always special to me, obviously because I played here, but also because I call a ton of ACC games. And I got to tell you guys, I'm very open about this. I grew up rooting a little bit for the Tar Heels and know their history, and then obviously came to school 10 miles down the road and got put on to the history and the legacy of Duke University and fell in love with Coach K. So sitting at the intersection of this rivalry between knowing players on both sides and seeing how it comes down to a day like this as the end of the regular season, this is the greatest gift of college basketball. And to be honest with you, I'm one of the luckiest people because I sit right in front of it every single year.
Jay, if Cameron Boozer finishes the story, wins the Wooden Award, wins the national championship, where does he rank not just among Duke players, but among the greatest one-and-done players of all time?
he's going to be right up there towards the top. You know, at the beginning of the year, I said this, and people thought I was crazy. I was like, hey, look, I'm not projecting Cameron Boozer to be a better NBA star than Cooper Flagg, but I think his point production and the way he plays, he's going to have a more productive and efficient season than Cooper Flagg, and he's been doing that. When you look at all the metrics, he's having one of the most single greatest seasons in college basketball history for a freshman. And everything about it is so efficient. Everything about it is so smooth. And look, Kyrie Irving obviously played 11 games, but their names are more synonymous with being better pros. Jason Tatum had a great freshman year, Jabari Parker. But I think at the end of the day, Cameron Boozer may have the greatest freshman season in the history of Duke basketball.
Jay, on the other side, Caleb Wilson, we learned he's going to be out for the rest of the season. What does this North Carolina team have to do, not just tonight, but through the rest of the ACC tournament and the NCAA tournament, if this team is going to continue to compete at the highest level with the best teams in the nation?
Look, man, I hate it so much for him. I mean, the last two North Carolina games I've called, Louisville at Carolina and then Clemson at Carolina, I saw him working out before each game, before a shoot-around. And each time, he made it known to walk over to me, and he's like, Jay Will, how you doing? I'm like, how you doing? And he's like, oh, you're going to see me on Saturday against Duke. Like, he said it to me twice. Mm-hmm. So I hate that for the kid. I hate that for this game because he wants to be here, and there's no doubt about it. He is the heart and soul of their team. Now, I give Hubert Davis so much credit. The job he's done with this year's team, between losing Seth Trimble at the beginning of the year to that freakish, weight room accident, to now having them in a position where they're 5-1 without Caleb Wilson, excuse me. He's done a heck of a job. So guys like Bokobots need to play extremely well. Dixon can't play like a freshman. Seth Trimble has been a guy, with the exception of the Clemson game, which averaging 23 points per game, shooting 66% from the field. And Basar needs to be a beast down low. He needs to be that player where he gets you 7 to 10 rebounds, gets to the free throw line. This could still be a second weekend team. Now, I think their ceiling is second weekend. It could be a Sweet 16, but still, it's been one hell of a year for North Carolina, but their ceiling drops tremendously with being a Final Four team with Caleb Wilson to being maybe a Sweet 16 team without him.
Yeah, we got some folks shaking their heads when you were talking about Sweet 16 potential behind you. But by the way, Jay, like in an era where college basketball is so transactional, Caleb Wilson was the antithesis of that. You could tell he loved playing for Carolina, and it's so sad and tragic, really, that we won't see him play another game in a Carolina uniform. I want to go right back to Duke in just a second. Cameron Boozer has the potential to do something that has only been done once before at that school, winning back-to-back National Player of the Year awards at the same school in back-to-back years. You obviously were a part of that duo. Shane Battier and yourself won it in back-to-back years. Look, Jon Scheyer hasn't gotten nearly enough credit for National Coach of the Year awards. Why do you think that is?
Well, we were talking about this as it relates just to the ACC, and then I can go macro, but let me start micro. Yeah. Duke hasn't had an ACC Coach of the Year since the year 2000. Which, when you think about it, it's crazy, right? And I think there is a little bit of an exhaustive measure there with Coach K. And now I think Jon Scheyer comes into the map, and what he's been able to do with the last two teams, and with the record, with the fact that their two losses, they've had double-digit leads in both those losses. Double-digit leads in both those losses. And the fact that he's been so dominant, I think he does deserve to be in the National Coach of the Year conversation. He definitely is ACC Coach of the Year. And then it starts going towards this question. It took Coach K 11 years to win a national championship. But now Jon Scheyer, I think his record's like 63-2 at Cameron Indoor Stadium for his tenure here. Which is absolutely insane. But now it starts getting into, okay, like it's championship time. And that's the standard here. Every single year, this fan base, former players, everybody, they expect Duke to win ACC regular seasons. They expect Duke to win ACC tournament championships, and they also expect Duke to win national championships. It's about national banners. John got to a Final Four last year. You could make a case that this team, better metrics than what last year's team is defensively as well. So now it's about knocking on the door to win a chip, like it is every single year here at Duke.
The fans want 6. This might be the year. Jay Williams, always appreciate the time. Enjoy the atmosphere today and have a great show on College GameDay.
Appreciate you guys.
We are just 8 days away from the field of 68 being released. Duke is not going to have to worry about this problem. They will not be on the bubble. However, for all of the teams that'll be sweating it out over the course of the next 8 days, it will feel like 8 weeks. But there's still opportunities to make one final impression on the selection committee. But what we figured we wanted to do here is a couple of blind resumes for you guys to tell me maybe which of these teams deserves to be in the field. Let's do our first one here. Before revealing which of these teams is which, based on some of the metrics here, Myron, which team deserves to be in the field?
The team with the 53 net and the 90 Ken Pom rating and 312 straight to schedule doesn't look like it's in a good spot compared to the team with the top 40 net. And even though they've lost a bunch of quad one games, they still played a bunch. So they're in a good spot, I think.
Man, guys, listen, I know just by that team on the left, I know who that is. Sam, you're not getting me. I want that team on the left in the tournament.
And that team
Period.
just picked up their 31st win of the season last night. Miami of Ohio is that team. Now, this has kind of been a debate over the course of the last several weeks. We've already heard from one of the more prominent voices in college basketball. Here's former Auburn coach Bruce Pearl on the situation.
Miami, Ohio, here's the deal. Are we going to select the 68 most deserving teams, or are we going to select the 68 best teams? If we're selecting the 68 best teams, then Miami, Ohio is going to have to win their tournament to qualify as a champion. Because as an at-large, they are not one of the best teams in the country. And that's going to be a difficult choice for the committee to make.
It's not the first time that we've had this debate or argument. It's not even the first time we've had this debate or argument in this sport. I mean, you think go back a couple years ago, we were having the same conversation on the football side, Lyles, with Indiana and pick your SEC team, whether it be Alabama or South Carolina that year. But like the sentiment remains true, I suppose. What are your thoughts on what BP said?
Look, I hear what he's saying, and also that most deserving, best. Oof, all right, I thought we were leaving that with football. Right. I didn't think this was going to be this difficult in basketball. But look, to me, Miami of Ohio, they've talked about how they've tried to schedule teams, right? There's not a whole lot of incentive if you are a Power 4 team to go and play a team like this. You can only play the games on your schedule. They've won all 31 of them. Had they lost one here or there, and look, I know they've had some super close calls against some not great teams. I have a hard time for a team that went undefeated in the regular season leaving them out of the tournament if they lose a game in their conference tournament. That's an issue for me.
And they're a lock now, right, Myron? We don't really have to worry about that.
Yeah.
It feels like it. At the same time, if you're Travis Steele, you don't feel like anything's 100%. And by the way, it's good to know that Bruce Pearl has a completely unbiased take on all this. No interest at all in whether or not his son may get into the field of 68 in this conversation.
Which of these teams would you have more confidence in winning a game in March? That's not the purpose of the exercise.
Sure.
But
probably Auburn.
But we do this every year, right? You pick Auburn based on the resume.
Yeah.
But how many times have we seen a team like Miami go into the tournament and they get a big win over a Power 4 team?
And we also know the MAC has had a pretty solid history in the NCAA tournament. Let's get to our next blind resume here. Look at the metrics. Pretty even. I mean, almost dead even. Stands for the strength of schedule. Both of these teams, according to our Joe Lenardi, sitting the last 4 in. Let's reveal these teams. Ohio State and Indiana, they will play each other today. Is this a win and in situation, Myron?
It feels like the Big Ten's ladder match, like WWE or something like that. You got to win this, and you get in very similar resumes. I think Ohio State having the edge with strength of schedule is going to matter. They have similar quality wins in the Big Ten. Purdue, Wisconsin, that's kind of what they're holding on to. This game matters a lot.
It also feels like not even just a game that you need to win, but you need some style points here as well. It feels like, because I think even with them being the last 4 teams in, potentially, you still need to sort of pad your stats here a little bit, get some comfort in there, because as we both know how close those resumes are, also with the tournament coming up, obviously, the Big Ten tournament coming up. A lot of basketball still to be played, even though it doesn't seem like it.
Ohio State's starting to get healthy, I think, at the right time. Their backcourt is, I think, pretty underrated in the Big Ten. They got that huge win against Purdue last Sunday. They avoided stepping on a rake at Penn State earlier in the midweek. Indiana has lost 4 of their last 5. Lyles, I feel like we've been doing the show for a couple years now. Every single time we're talking about the state of Indiana, and just this program has not really lived up to some of the expectations.
It hasn't, and boy, going 16-0 in football, like you want to talk about adding some pressure. I mean, if Indiana wins a national championship in football, with that program, that fan base, you know, something that I'm very familiar with, like they're all looking at that, being like, all right, well then, how come we can't get this right? So I think they're trending in the right direction. We might have to do this 1 or 2 more times with Indiana before they get back to being the program that they want to be. But it is sort of funny that we kind of do this at the first week of March every year now.
It's just, well, it's just so rare seeing Indiana fighting for their lives on the bubble. These 2 teams that we're going to show next are not going to be fighting for their lives on the bubble. However, they are still fighting for a 1 seed. Look at the nets here, 8 versus 4. A little lesser, a quad 1 wins on the left side. Let's reveal who these teams are. The UConn Huskies on the left, the reigning national champs Florida on the right. Myron, is there anything outside of a UConn loss that Florida can do to get that last 1 seed this year?
Well, I mean, you know, they keep winning. They're putting themselves in a good spot. I wonder if that Creighton loss at home is going to come back to haunt UConn, because Florida keeps winning, and that's still the one thing on their resume that makes you go, maybe UConn could be in trouble.
Yeah, you know, it feels like that early season struggler for Florida, man, that really cost them. Yeah. You know, because I think we've been watching, and shoot, we've been talking about it the last, 5 or 6 weeks, how good Florida's looked, their front court. But just those early season struggles, man, don't know if they're going to be able to overcome that. I know you don't want them to, Sam.
Well, no. I think, how many times in the college football season have we said head-to-head has to matter?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And UConn beat Florida. It might have been earlier on the season, but that result does matter. I will say this. 2 of the most recent national champions are playing their best brand of basketball in the most important time of the year, and that also matters as well.
Take it from Dr. Ken. This is medical advice. If you want a winning bracket, put Duke at the top.
Welcome to the best rivalry in college basketball.
Duke and Carolina. I got my undergrad degree at Duke, my med school degree at Carolina, and my basketball degree watching that rivalry. But root for Carolina over Duke, please.
Let's welcome in the man himself, Ken Jeong. He's got the special jacket on. Ken, what do you think of that little introduction we got there for you?
Yeah, oh, my goodness. That takes me back. I look so much better then. Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me again, guys. Let's do this.
It worked out well for your Duke Blue Devils last season, so we figured we got to run it back. But, look, I mean, you've been a fixture at Duke, obviously, for so long, going back to the Coach K era. We're now seeing the Jon Scheyer era, and a lot of folks thought, well, maybe we see a drop-off. That hasn't been the case. It's been incredible to see what he has done. Talk about what it's been like to experience the Jon Scheyer era after the Coach K era, and just there's no letdown.
I mean, that's a great question, because it really is phenomenal where you're following someone who is the GOAT, and then literally there's just, like you said, there's no drop off. I think Scheyer has done this incredible job in adapting to the times right now in NIL and keeping, in the one and done era, picking up, high school blue chippers every year. But at the same time, last year, what people overlook, we retained the most number of Duke college players of any team. We had like 5 held over, even though we lost 5 to the NBA, we retained 5. And I think that's a huge underrated reason for its success today.
Ken, you're going to be on game day later with Carlos Boozer. His sons Cameron and Caden are now stars for Duke. What has it been like watching Cameron and Caden? Do you see any similarities between Carlos and Cameron?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I think Cameron is an extension of Carlos. I think Carlos is OG, and then offshooting to Cameron and Caden, they're supplying other different gifts. I think they're both their own individuals, to be honest right now with Cam and Caden. I don't think about Carlos when I watch him, which is the ultimate compliment. Cameron Boozer plays like a junior. He doesn't play like a freshman. He's got a Tim Duncan-esque vibe to him. You never see him get rattled. And Caden has barely yet to scratch the surface of his potential, because that guy has got so much skill but right now he's the ultimate team player and doing whatever he can to help his team to win, just like Cameron.
Ken, one of the great things about this rivalry is the passion. Obviously, yourself being a Duke fan, I need you to give me a Duke player you love all time, but I also need you to give me the Carolina player that you hate the most all time.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. The Duke player that, gosh, there's so many right now, but the Duke player that I love all time, honestly, it has to be Grant Hill for me, because he embodies everything that Duke is all about. He's a class act. He's an amazing athlete. He's a Hall of Famer. To me, he is like the perfect player in my eyes. The Carolina player who I don't like, God, there's so many. There are like too many to choose from. Shots fired. There are too many, because Carolina has too many players I can't stand. You bet.
Well, it's funny that you say that, Ken, because we have we've got one of those Carolina players here, Joel Berry, national champion. Oh gosh, what? I have to go. Oh my goodness.
No. Come back.
No. Okay. I'm back. Joel, it was just a joke. I'm an actor. I'm just a comedian. I was told by the higher ups at ESPN to say that I love Joel Berry. I love Carolina. They're amazing. If it wasn't for Carolina, there wouldn't be Duke. You know how much I love Carolina. Rick Fox, we're in the same HOA in my neighborhood. I've done a movie with Foxy. Like, it doesn't get any more UNC than that. I'm not two-faced at all. I just want to be loved. How dare you, ESPN? You sabotage me again.
Yes.
How dare you? I come here, goodness of my heart,
That's right.
just so we could win again, and you spring Barry on me? Wow.
They set you up. Yeah, they set you up.
Thank God this isn't live. What? Oh, gosh. Joel Berry, time out. This isn't Ken Jeong. This is AI. This is all AI, guys.
We brought in the big guns.
Is AI.
We brought in the big guns, Ken.
Yeah. This is deep fake Ken Jeong. This isn't me. Joel Berry, number one.
Yes,
That's
sir.
all I'm saying.
Hey, I see what you're doing there. It's great to see you. I want to know, what's your most stressful moment watching the Carolina Duke game? I mean, I know there's been a ton of them, but it had to be. I was there for Coach K's last game. To be honest, I enjoyed it. But I want to know, what's the most stressful for you?
I mean, honestly, one of the most stressful moments was the last game, watching you guys at the Dean Dome coming back from 11 down and just being unstoppable. And I want to just give a serious shout out to Caleb Wilson. He is just one of the best players in college basketball. And it breaks my heart that, he's going through that and will be out for the rest of the season, because you want to face everybody full strength, because I really respect his passion. I really respect his MJ-like competitiveness, taking things personal and giving that as fuel. Honestly, Duke doesn't become Duke as it is right now if it wasn't for the rivalry we had with Carolina, and that we still have to this day. To me, we're siblings who live 8 miles from each other. You know what I mean? And it's always stressful. We could win in 92. But I still remember in 92, we lost to Carolina. I still remember that. So it's and the first game I ever went as a Cameron Crazy. Look, I'm 56. In 86, I went to my first game at Cameron, and we lost against J.R. Reed's UNC team. I've been to a lot of games where we have lost to Carolina. It's just part of college basketball, and it's why it's the best rivalry. See how nice I am being right now in front of Joel Berry? I'm not an idiot, ESPN. I'm not an idiot.
We always try to get you too, Ken, and you're always right above par. Hey, listen, you gotta have revenge on the mind going into this one, though, Ken. Right? Going back earlier February, Seth Trimble corner three at the buzzer. That one's got to hurt. So I got to imagine heading into this one, you got some revenge on the mind, no?
Yeah, I mean, it's always, this is a rivalry game. This is a personal game. But you got to shout out that last play that they drew up for Seth Trimble if they did, because Derek Dixon found the open man. Seth was wide open. it broke my heart. I was watching with my wife at home, and I literally just stood up, left the kitchen, and just walked out for like 5 minutes and was speechless. And again, that's one of those things that helps motivate us as Duke. I think it helped us beat Michigan, and we've been on like a buzzsaw, but I think it's precisely because of games like UNC that make us a buzzsaw right now. So one feeds the other, to be brutally honest. And, all credit to Seth on that. Absolutely.
Yeah, one sees the other. I would love to see Ken in Indianapolis this year, right next to Duke, cutting down those nets for a national championship. That would be quite a sight to see.
Wouldn't that be amazing? They make the Final Four, they win the championship, and then I cut down the nets, and all the Duke security take me away. It'll be great. It'll be a Kevin Hart Philadelphia Eagles kind of moment.
That's right.
I won't be allowed.
I won't
be allowed on the court.
I want that.
Coach K himself will tackle me. That would be amazing.
I'd love it, Ken. Really appreciate the time, man. As always.
Of course.
Have a great show on College Game Day. Looking forward to it.
Joe Barry's amazing. Did you let me say that, ESPN? Oh, my goodness.
You sound like Jay Williams. I know y'all are secretly Carolina fans.
Oh man.
Now we'll check out some magic moments covered by State Farm. And magic is what the month of March is all about. But has that magic run out? Last year, we had a clear separation at the top of the sport with those 4 top teams, the 4 number 1 seeds. They all made it to a Final Four for the first time since 2008, and it feels like we're kind of trending toward something similar this year. But has the concept of the Cinderella died? Jay Williams had some thoughts on First Take about it earlier this week.
You can't leave a team that's undefeated over 30 games in a regular season out of a field of 68. You can't do that.
Hear me on this one. Cinderellas are dead.
What?
Cinderellas are
Come
dead.
on, Jay. This is what the tournament is about. These kinds of. What do you want? A bubble team? Give me a bubble team. What's Auburn, like 16 and 14?
So you know what happens?
You'd rather see a bubble team? Like
no. I'm not saying, but I'm telling you where it's transitioning to. If you're a player who's averaging 18 on a Cinderella team, you know what I'm going to do if I'm at the bottom of the ACC? Oh, I'll give you $600,000. Come on over here. Come on, play with me at Boston College. That's what's happening over and over and over again. So I don't think we're going to see the same amount of Cinderella runs as deep because all these guys are being picked off those teams.
Look, the concentration of talent at the top of the sport hasn't really taken away from the egalitarian nature of March Madness over the last couple of years. But now it's like the chickens have come home to roost a little bit, Joel. Do you agree with Jay Will that the idea of the Cinderella is at least changed from how we knew it in years past?
I see where he's coming from about being enticed, going to another school. If you're, you can go to the ACC, you can go to the Big 12 and be able to get a little bit more money and play on a higher level. But you know what? I know basketball, some days you just have bad days. And you can run against one of these teams that are hot, trending up at the end of the season, and there's no telling. They could knock you off. So I see where he's coming from, but I don't think the Cinderella is dead. I want to keep it alive. That's what March Madness is about.
Is it good for college basketball, Myron?
I don't think it's good if you have fewer Cinderellas. Like, I love the idea of those teams coming in, having a chance to knock off a Power 4 team. But it is more rare because of the NIL. I know coaches at the mid-major level who say their pitch to recruits is stick with me for a year, I'll get you to a Power 4. That's how much the game has changed.
Yeah, and I think really this has not maybe less to do with there being less Cinderellas, and I think this really just makes the job of the mid-majors tougher.
Yeah,
right? Because, I mean, you're cycling talent. You mentioned, you might have a guy that, averages 14 points for you. A lower tier Power 4 team says, hey, here's this amount of money. We want you to either come start for us or sit on our bench or come off of our bench. I think that, Joel, to your point, the thing that doesn't change is when we get to the NCAA tournament and we get to March and that magic happens, you just got to be better than one team for not even a full 40 minutes.
Yep.
Right? And so I think that piece of it, it's going to feel a lot like the Cinderellas are going to be gone. But I think from that perspective, we're still going to see plenty of what we've seen in the past.
Yeah. I mean, look, it wasn't that long ago. Purdue lost to Fairleigh Dickinson. So, it's not like that was 50 years ago. It was a couple of years ago. So the theory of it is still there. And in the essence of this exercise, regardless of what Jay Will did to Cinderellas, we're going to pick some potential Cinderellas here in March. Myron, give me a Cinderella that you think can make a run this tournament.
Well, St. Louis is a team that is playing some really good basketball. The metrics are as good as any team in the country in terms of offensively, defensively. Robbie Avila, everybody knows the guy with the goggles, has gotten better. A bunch of guys who can score. And Josh Schertz is, to me, one of the best coaches in the country. There are going to be a lot of people that want to take him from St. Louis after this season because of the job that he has done. And I think if you look at St. Louis and you're an opposing power forward, you don't want any parts of that team with the way that they can play when they're at their best.
Joel, you agree? You like St. Louis?
I agree. I'm on the same wave as you, man.
There you go.
That's what we're talking about here. I think they're great because you look at their metrics. They shoot the ball really well. I'm a high-tempo guy. I love tempo. I think tempo solves a lot of things. You just get up and down the floor. You make the game chaotic. That's what they do. And then they're a team, what they do best, they also guard it well as well. They guard the three-point line, but they also guard two-point percentage as well. So I think this is a team that no one wants to beat. And the best thing about them, they got 7 guys that average over 9 points. They're balanced, and it's hard to beat.
By the way, this might be a two-bid league with some potential Cinderellas in it. Remember what VCU did a couple of years ago? Yeah, they're good again. And they may be another team that can make a run. Harry, give me a Cinderella that you like.
You know, I was going to go with Belmont, and then they got the doors blown off them yesterday by Drake.
That's a wild story, by the way.
So
that whole thing is
extremely
nuts.
wild, which is why I am going to take the Missouri Valley Conference winner. It could be Drake. It could be UIC of all teams. Illinois State has looked good in stretches. Bradley as well. Now, do they have the superstar talent that you would like to see? Like that, one of the reasons, if I'm with you guys, like St. Louis looks great. You got Robbie Avila. He's continued to get better and better and better. But if we're talking about March, we're talking about magic, we're talking about getting hot at the right time, whoever comes out of the Valley, give me at least one win for that team in the tournament. Can they get lucky twice and get to the second weekend? You know, I think it might be a little bit of a stretch, but I still wouldn't bet against it. We've seen magical runs year in and year out from the Missouri Valley Conference. Why not this year, especially when their own tournament is getting as stupid as it is?
Well, that's another conversation for a whole nother. Like the mid-major tournaments, some of these conference tournaments, 1 seeds are not protected. What's the incentive of winning your regular season, right? At that point. So that can save it for another day. The Cinderella that I went with is out of the West Coast Conference. I'm going with the St. Mary's Gales and Randy Bennett. They've done it before, took them to a Sweet 16. Now, albeit that was back in 2010. This is a really good team, young, but 27-4. They're high in the net, 21st in the net. Joey Brackets has them as a 7 seed, so they'd be matched up with a 2 seed there, which is tough considering what we have at the top of the sport this year. But man, they've been knocking on getting to that second weekend for a little while, and I think that this is one of the teams that can do it. So a lot of potential Cinderellas out there. I think we've seen what we have seen at the top of the sport. They're not infallible, right? So I think we're going to see some upsets this year. It's not going to go chalk. I think we can guarantee that. Maybe we do end up with all the 1 seeds back in the Final Four, but I think we will have some upsets early on. Those are your magic moments covered by State Farm. A lot of great games here on the final Saturday of the regular season in-state battle between Vanderbilt and Tennessee at 2 Eastern time. And then Louisville heading down to Miami to take on Jay Lucas and Malik Renew. Florida at Kentucky. The Gators have won 10 straight. Wildcats in a little bit of wounded cat mode. Wisconsin at Purdue. Purdue as well has struggled down the stretch. And then, of course, North Carolina at Duke. Top 20 matchup, 6:30 Eastern time on ESPN. Followed late night out west by Texas Tech and BYU. A reminder, you're watching Countdown to Game Day, covered by State Farm. Metzger, give me my buzzer. Okay. Very good. We got a donkey. Last week we had an auctioneer, so you never really know what you're going to get. Let's start with some bubble trouble here. Cincinnati and TCU. Look, in December, Wes Miller was all but fired. He was crying at press conferences, and here they are winning 6 of their last 7. TCU, as well as another team with a crazy resume. They lost to New Orleans on the first day of the season. They just beat Texas Tech. Joel, thoughts on this matchup here in this bubble trouble game?
Yeah, for Cincinnati, I mean, they lost that West Virginia game, and they went on a roll from there. They're coming into this game high. I think the thing for them is they need their defense to fuel their offense. When they're out about and getting out on the break and being able to finish in transition, play with freedom, that's when they're at their best. TCU, they're still right there on the bubble, so they're trying to solidify what they've been doing here at the end of the season. It's this trend that we've been talking about. Teams that, got hot early, kind of slowing down. These two teams are getting hot at the right time.
You can tell when a team is playing for their coach. and Cincinnati's playing for Wes Miller.
Yep.
I think that's key, that turnaround. TCU obviously been strong too late.
Yeah, I'm with you, Myron. I think Cincinnati, I like their hot a little bit more than TCU's hot. I rely on them to be a little bit more consistent, I think, than the Horned Frogs here.
All right, let's move it along. Louisville at Miami. Louisville will be playing without Mycel Brown Jr., dealing with that back injury that kept him out of 8 games back in December and early January, so that's some trouble. The line on this game was like 1.5 points.
Yes.
Which I thought was a little bit strange. Going to Miami with what Jay Lucas has done. Joel, you've covered this conference all year long. It's been one of the more incredible turnarounds all season.
Yeah, it has been an impressive turnaround. He not only brought in a ton of new players, he also has a whole new coaching staff. So for everything to come together, it has been very impressive for Miami. They don't shoot the ball well from the three-point line, but what they do is they dominate in the paint with Malik Renew, Uday in the paint, and then Trey Donaldson, big time. And it hurts that Louisville doesn't have Mycel Brown tonight.
Yeah, honestly, I was going to pick Louisville in this one until Mycel Brown officially came out, because they were, I don't know what the line is now, but Louisville has struggled a little bit on the road.
Yeah.
I thought this one would be one that, hey, we know we need to get this one. Let's get over the hump. But if Brown's not playing, I just couldn't. I don't have it in me to pick him.
Yeah, I probably would pick Miami either way. Jay Lucas is doing a remarkable job with the Hurricanes in year 1.
Not a lot of people thought they were even going to be an NCAA tournament team. They won 7 games last year. They've already won 24 this year. Let's move it along here. Florida at Kentucky. 10-game win streak for the Gators. I'll ask it pretty plain and simple. Will Florida complete the season sweep for the first time since 2018 over Kentucky today, Joel?
I think they will. I love the way that they're playing right now. Their guards have caught up with their bigs. They're very dominant. They don't shoot the ball well from the three. Just like Miami, they dominate the paint, and then they guard the heck out of you. I got Florida in this one.
Todd Golden's teams need a little bit of time to find their rhythm. They found it, and now they're throwing knockout blows with the Gators. They'll do it again today.
Yeah, Joel, you said the key. Their guards have caught up with their bigs. I'm going with Florida on this one as well.
All right, the game day game. North Carolina inside Cameron, indoor at Duke. Joel, obviously you've played in a whole host of these games. Didn't lose a lot, I'll also say. But when you think about this matchup in particular, look, there's not a ton on the line as far as stakes, but you can't substitute the rivalry feeling that we'll feel tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. I mean, this is like March Madness in itself with this type of game. Duke has been playing really well at home, has blown out a lot of teams, good teams at home. So Carolina is in a battle uphill without going into Cameron without Caleb Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, tough spot for North Carolina to be in, but I guarantee Jon Scheyer is saying, don't think that this is going to be easy because Caleb Wilson isn't out there.
Yeah, I picked Carolina last time because the game was in Carolina. Caleb Wilson was also healthy for that game, me. I'm going Duke today. I do think if you are Carolina, there is still value in this game, win or lose, because you need to see where you need to be great moving into further into March.
You also think about where Caleb Wilson's going to be missed the most. Think about that last game. He got those Duke bigs into foul trouble.
Yeah.
If nothing else, got him on the bench, really gave him a chance. All right, that's going to do it for us. Head on over to ESPN, catch College GameDay. Ken Jeong is going to be there as well, so that'll be fun to watch. For our entire crew, Harry Lyles Jr., Myron Medcalf, Joel Berry joining us in studio. I'm Sam Ravech saying so long. Thank you so much for watching Countdown to Game Day, covered by State Farm. Enjoy the games today, everybody.